It's Friday night, and while most of us are winding down, geopolitics has other plans. A transatlantic diplomatic rift is breaking wide open. It has been triggered by a very public spat between US President Donald Trump and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. It all began yesterday when Trump said Meloni begged him for a photograph.
It started with a photograph, or rather with a lie about a photograph. This week, the President of the United States went on Italian television and said the Prime Minister of Italy, a NATO ally, a woman once called his closest friend in Europe, had begged him for a picture. Begged. He said she wanted it so badly he almost said no and only agreed because he felt sorry for her. It's the kind of line you toss off to make yourself look big, but this time it didn't land the way he expected. Because the woman he was talking about is Giorgia Meloni. And within hours, she did something Trump's allies almost never do in public. She called him a liar to his face, and then Italy, all of Italy, lined up behind her. Tonight, the favorite turned. Here's how it happened.
Bad. Listen to his exact words.
She begged me to take a picture with her. She wanted a picture with me so badly. I wouldn't have taken it, but I felt sorry for her.
Here's the setup, because it matters. Trump was on the phone with the Italian network Law 7. The correspondent asked him about Ukraine. Trump was the one who steered it to Meloni. Nobody made him bring her up. And then he delivered this. She begged. She wanted it so badly. He almost refused. He felt sorry for her. Read it again and notice the shape of it. Every sentence is designed to make her small and him generous. This is a man describing a G7 sideline chat. Two allied leaders on a sofa. As a favor, he handed down to a grateful subordinate. And then he added the part that really tells you the mindset. She's probably just happy he talked to her at all because he didn't have to. That's not diplomacy. That's a scoreboard.
Well, some things deserve an immediate response. Donald Trump's statements are completely made up. I am frankly astonished. I don't know why the President of the United States behaves like this towards his allies.
In marble. And this is the part that should not be glossed over. This is no longer a war of words on television. Italy's Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani, he was supposed to visit Washington on the 21st of June and the 22nd. That trip is no longer happening. Tajani cancelled it completely. He called Trump's remarks grave and offensive. He said that they did not just insult Giorgia Meloni, they insulted Italy. All of Italy. The Italians are not...
Now, when someone catches you exaggerating, the graceful move is to let it go. Trump did the opposite. He posted that Meloni had asked for the photo over and over. When NBC reached him by phone, he doubled down again. That's true, he said, and then pivoted to the real grievance. She wasn't there for us. And there it is. This was never really about a photo. The photo is the costume. Underneath it is anger that Meloni didn't fall in line on Iran, didn't hand him the support he wanted. So he reached for the oldest move in his playbook. Humiliate the ally in public. Make them look needy. Make loyalty look like the price of a picture. The problem is he picked the wrong ally.
I can only say it is disappointing that he does not show the same determination with the enemies of the West and of the United States, whose leaders he instead treats with far greater indulgence.
And this is the moment the whole thing turned. No press release drafted by a committee. No cautious, we regret the remarks. Meloni went straight to camera, completely fabricated. I am frankly stunned. And then the line that ricocheted around the world. Italy and I do not beg. Sit with how rare that is. Allied leaders absorb Trump's jabs all the time. They smile, they wait for the next photo op, they move on. Meloni refused. She didn't just correct the record. She drew a line in marble. She called it what it was, a fabrication from the President of the United States about an ally. And she did it in 15 seconds in her own language, on her own terms. Then Saturday came, and if anyone thought she'd cool off overnight, she didn't. Trump had needled her about popularity. Her answer was ice. My popularity is none of your concern. I suggest you focus on yours. She went further, defending Italy's refusal to hand over its airstrips and runways. Those are governed by agreements, she said, and they will be respected as long as she is Prime Minister. Italy remains a sovereign nation. That's the tell. This stopped being about a snub and became about sovereignty. A leader reminding a superpower that being someone's friend is not the same as being someone's subordinate. And here's where a spat became a diplomatic event. Antonio Tajani, Italy's foreign minister, a steady, pro-Atlantic operator, not a bomb thrower, canceled his trip to the United States. He'd been due in Miami for a business forum, due to sit down with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Gone. He called Trump's words serious and offensive not just to Meloni, but to all of Italy. Think about what that actually is. A NATO government publicly pulling a minister out of Washington because of the way a US president spoke about its leader. Countries don't do that lightly. That's not wounded pride. That's a message sent loud in a language every capital understands. And it wasn't just Tajani. Defense Minister Guido Crosetto said Meloni wouldn't beg for a photo, not even under threat, and warned that jokes like this help no one, not the US, not Italy, not the alliance itself. But here's the part that should really make Washington pause. This unified Italy. Meloni's own opponents backed her. Former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, a man who rarely passes up a chance to attack her, called Trump's remarks horrifying and landed on the same bottom line as Meloni: Italy deserves better. Left, right, government, opposition, for one day the fault line's closed. When you insult a country's leader, you can accidentally hand her the whole country. To understand why this cuts so deep, you have to rewind. Because Meloni wasn't just any European leader in Trump's eyes. For years, she was a favorite. They spoke the same political language: nationalism, conservatism, contempt for the old establishment. He called her a fantastic woman. They dined together in Paris alongside Elon Musk. She visited Mar-a-Lago before he even returned to office, something almost no world leader gets to do. If you'd asked who had Trump's ear in Europe, most fingers pointed at Meloni. And then came Iran. Trump wanted allies to line up behind his pressure campaign. Meloni stayed on the sidelines. It got personal after the Pope, Leo XIV, called Trump's threats against Iran unacceptable, and Trump fired back at the Pope himself. Meloni, a devout Catholic leading the country that hosts the Vatican, couldn't stay silent. She called Trump's comments unacceptable too. And the moment she stopped defending him, the fantastic woman became, in his telling, the woman who begged. This is a pattern, and she named it herself. He saves his hardest edges for friends, and his softest for the West's rivals. The Seed video notes Trump also berated Benjamin Netanyahu around the G7, using crude language and claiming there would be no Israel without him, with Netanyahu declining to push back publicly. Confirm this clip before using it. The through line, verified or not, is the one Meloni drew. Partnership treated as a debt owed to him personally. Support is never enough. It must come with gratitude, and the gratitude must be visible. That's why the photo mattered so much to him. Not the image, the posture. He needs to be the one being chased, never the one doing the chasing. Meloni just refused to play the part. Where does this leave things? A photo op has turned into the sharpest public break between Washington and Rome in years. A cancelled ministerial visit, a NATO ally openly calling the US president a liar, and an Italian political class that closed ranks overnight. And it happened because Trump reached for a cheap line about a woman he assumed would absorb it quietly, the way so many leaders have. She didn't. There's an old warning about waking a sleeping lion. Rome hadn't been asleep, it had just been polite. This week the politeness ran out. Meloni answered Trump in the only language he seems to respect. She refused to blink. She called the lie a lie. She reminded a superpower that Italy is sovereign, and she said the thing that will outlive this whole episode. Italy and I do not beg. The real question now isn't whether Trump gets his apology. He won't. It's whether other allies are watching Meloni and quietly deciding they don't have to beg either. Because if the favorite can turn, anyone can. What do you think? Did Meloni just show Europe how to handle him? Or did she just start a fight Italy can't afford? Tell me below. And if you want these stories broken down clearly and fast, subscribe. This one is far from over.